Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm doing a review of something that I have become very familiar with over the last year. Even though I first smelled it probably a few years ago, but I think I only had like a tiny sample of it. I am going to do a review of Borneo 1834 by Serge Lutens and talk a little bit about patchouli perfumes. I've done lots of reviews of patchouli dominant perfumes. I've done a video dedicated to patchouli fragrances that I really like and have enjoyed in the past. But the review will be mainly about this fragrance, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of a comparison between this and a couple of others that I'm familiar with. I'm going to get the negatives out of the way first. So first of all, the one negative for me is Borneo 1834 currently comes in the Gratte du Ciel line in these bottles that I really do not like. I mean, they're tenuous at best if they're standing on their own. They only come in the one size, a 100 ml. You can barely read the label. Maybe it's all on purpose, but the other negative for me is that also means that they're more expensive than the rest of Serge Lutens' line, $375 US at the moment on the website. These used to be available in the more commonly known rectangular bottles like this one here, and then they were moved into the bell jar model, like that one, and now they're here. And I guess with the changes in what particular line they're in, the price changes with it. So negatives out the way. Positives is that it is right at this moment my favorite patchouli perfume. I'm going to spray some on, and then I'm going to talk about what it is I smell, and then what I like about it, what I love about it. The first thing you'll notice, obviously, if you are in any way familiar with the patchouli material that's used in perfume, you're going to recognize it here. So it's unashamedly dominated by patch. And with patchouli, it's always very interesting to me when you build a fragrance around patchouli being in the spotlight at the front of the stage, then it usually will dominate everything else. And I've become familiar with quite a few different fragrances that utilize patchouli as the main player. There are some in other fragrances, patchouli is used as usually as part of a base in it, and you can usually smell it. If you think of things like 1740 by Histoire de Parfum, or even something like Héritage by Guerlain, patchouli is used there, but it's always in the background and used to support the rest of the composition. Fragrances like Borneo, fragrances like Patchouli Nobile by Nobile 1942, to a little bit of a lesser extent, something like Coromandel by Chanel is still a patchouli perfume. Tempo by Diptyque, again, built around patchouli, and patchouli dominates the fragrance. And you can be forgiven for thinking, if you don't do straight up comparisons with them, that they can all kind of smell the same. And, if you've got one patchouli dominant perfume in your collection, that others would be redundant. And my experience is that you would be wrong. So Borneo 1834, what strikes me immediately when I smell it on my skin is that it is a dark, brooding patchouli. There is definitely the hues that I get are like very deep, dark greens and browns. There is not. It's very dense. It is literally like you are walking in a dense rainforest, but the canopies are so thick that no light is coming through, and there is something a little bit foreboding about this scent for me. But in a good way, obviously. I don't want to spin a negative connotation to that description. When I talk about patchouli, personification of patchouli, it's interesting because I smell this and then I decided to put some of Patchouli nobile on my other arm. And for context, prior to getting Borneo, I used to just think of this as that big patchouli perfume, which it is, but I only ever thought about patchouli and not so much about what else is going on in here. When I spray Borneo 1834 on and get that thick, dark, broody mood about it, I wanted to spray on some of this on the other arm just to see what differences I could pick up. And it's amazing doing comparisons like this because I realised that when I was smelling Borneo on this arm and Patchouli nobile on the other, I was getting so much of the labdanum that is in this particular fragrance. If you smell this in isolation, you're basically smelling patchouli, and then you might smell the other materials as it dries down. And I had a similar thing happen with Borneo. So the notes, the official listed notes are patchouli, camphor, galbanum, cocoa. There is also white flowers listed, but I don't think white flowers are in the room with us with this fragrance. I definitely don't smell them when it's drying down on my skin. And I'll list the other. I think I'm missing one or two notes. Oh, and there is also labdanum listed in this particular fragrance as well, although it's not as pronounced as it is in the nobile. What I mainly smell on my skin are the patchouli, the labdanum, and the galbanum to a lesser extent. So I always was wondering why I could not clearly detect the cocoa note in this fragrance. And sometimes what I do with a particular perfume that I have, if I know that there are main ingredients, materials used in a perfume, I will go to my collection. I've got a bunch of small little vial jars with raw material in them. And in this case, what I did is open up my patchouli oil, I opened up my galbanum resin, and I opened up my labdanum resin, and kind of just smelled them, put them under my nose just to smell that combination. And then I would smell the Borneo that I had on my arm. And when I smelled the raw materials and then smelled the Borneo, suddenly the cocoa came through, and now I can't unsmell it either. And what I like about it is that cocoa is dusty, dry, and not sweet. I wouldn't even call it bitter like some dark chocolate can be. It just definitely gives all those darker, earthy elements, I guess, a coat of velvety dustiness and just ties everything together. So you think of perfumes like Coromandel, for instance. So patchouli dominated. It is sweeter, it's ambery, there's a little bit of incense, and the white chocolate note is a very different beast to something like Borneo 1834. If you want to personify these patchouli fragrances, Coromandel is a warm, sensual hug. Nobile Patchouli Nobile is that kind of more outgoing, flirtatious type of friendly fragrance, whereas Borneo 1834 is that person that stares into your eyes and can reach into your soul with those dead eyes. But it is the most impactful wear, if that makes any sense. It is really a scent that puts you in a frame of mind, not a bad negative way, but it's kind of you're not messing around when you're wearing Borneo 1834. It's a mood scent. It's obviously perfect in the colder weather. I don't think you could. I couldn't wear this in really warm weather either. And when I was reading up about this as well, I see a lot of people compare Diptyque's Tempo to Borneo 1834, and I've done a review of Diptyque from years ago, and that was before I'd smelled this, and I kind of have a recollection that I didn't mind Tempo, but I didn't love it. I like this one, and so now I want to revisit Tempo and maybe get a sample and do a comparison with Borneo 1834. This lasts on my skin easily 6 to 7 hours. Projection's okay, and it's not going to fill, I don't think it fills any rooms, but definitely it has good sillage, because sometimes when I'm wearing it, I might become a little anosmic to it after a few hours, and then I might get up from my chair or move around, and suddenly I can smell it again, and obviously reactivates with a little bit of heat if you start moving around. So I do love Borneo 1834. I wish it wasn't in this bottle. I wish it wasn't so expensive. But if I end up trying Diptyque Tempo again and realize that it's very, very close, who knows, Diptyque might be a better buy. But this is such a beautiful, mysterious scent, and it's captivating. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I will see you next time for another video. Bye for now.